Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well wherever you may be. My name is Siraj, and this is Red in the Head. Woo! So, now that that trend news cycle is over, I mean, come on. How long do things really live in social media? A week, maybe 2 weeks? But I think we can all agree that it's time to move on from that episode because I think there's more important things. First of all, we've got a Premier League to go and try and win. And you know what? Up first is that Everton game. And you know it's not going to be pretty. So, but before we even get to that, I think the most important thing I wanted to talk about today, more than anything, more than the Everton game, really is the contract situation that we have. Look, we've parked the Trent, or let's close the Trent chapter, right? That's done. End of the season, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with the goodbyes all later and everything like that. But of course, you know, it obviously brings up an opportunity for FSG to see if we could maybe secure Mo Salah and Virgil van Dijk. Look, I always thought, come around December when the news started to come out that Trent was going to go to Real Madrid, or there was rumors about that, I think we can all agree if out of those three contracts, possibly as a fan, you would have want Mo Salah to stay and Virgil van Dijk. Let's be real, right? I think most of all why we are up in arms really about the Trent thing is that because there's no transfer fee. Okay? But be that as it may, that's not Trent's fault, or maybe it is. No. It's for me, it's obviously quite glaring now that we have to secure the services of Virgil van Dijk, most importantly, because I think he is the spine. And I definitely think if we can get a year or two extra from Mo Salah. I know that both of them want to stay for Liverpool. I know that Mo Salah wants to go and smash those Premier League records. So if he can get a 2-year deal, 3 years probably, I don't think Liverpool would go 3 years, but let's say if you get a 2-year deal, he would definitely be in. The same with Van Dijk. No Dutch player has ever captained a Premier League team to a title. So I definitely think he wants to be the first Dutchman who's going to win a bunch of Premier League titles for Liverpool. So, you know what? Fair play to him. What a chance. But this video actually is really about the kind of alarm bells that went after me, and it kind of set me off to go and check out, like, well, what do the contracts look like of the players? You know, like how many have signed for what time? And so I kind of went and I did a bit of research, looked at it, and decided, well, look, you know, out of the whole squad, I'm going to use very lightly, but let's say the majority of the squad, who would I want to keep, who I want to sell, right? Considering where they are in terms of their contracts, etc., etc. So I think this is what this video really is about. You know what I mean? So it's just like a cute little side quest that we can go down, but I think it's still very important because I do think in the last 2 seasons, for whatever reason, FSG has decided to, or at least there was some dereliction of duty. And could it be because of the amount of people that were changing jobs, etc., etc.? Like, there's been a lot of turmoil internally at a boardroom level with the club. So hopefully going forward, now with the new director of sporting director in, who's been in the job since the start of the season, let's be real. Let's see if we can get a lot of those kind of like player contracts, etc., and those kind of things done. Yeah, I've set up the team in terms of the keepers, the defenders, the midfielders, and the strikers. And who out of those do I want to keep? Who do I want to sell? And who do I want to go low now? And keeping in mind that, you know, I've also put down a number that expresses exactly when their contracts expire. So hopefully that gives us a little bit of urgency. So I've created a little board here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and look at that. Okay, so if I look at this, so as I said to you guys, right? What I'm going to do is I'm gonna sort the players out based on their positions, and also I've put a number on there in terms of when their contracts are going to expire. I've also put down things that are super urgent, so those things that are in orange, and those that are kind of urgent, it's in a yellow mark, we need to get on it. And then, of course, you know, the players who are on green, who, you know, it's like 3 or 4 years away. So I think we've got a bit of time with them to actually check things out. Let's quickly go ahead here. Let me just go here quickly. Okay, I'm just gonna close that up quickly. No. Save. Okay, so let me get in here for a second, right? Okay, so basically what I've done with this chart is I have listed all of the positions, or all the players, the squad players, based on per position. So goalkeepers together, defenders, midfielders, all that shebang along. What I've also done, and I'm just going to fix this quickly up here, is I've also put down the year that their contracts would expire. So, and I've also color coded them. Green is we're cool, we don't have to worry about things yet. Orange is like, yo, we need to get on it. Now, apart from Virgil van Dijk, Salah, and Trent, which we know are like red. Orange is like the next set of players that needs to be sorted out. Either contracts given or sold. And then obviously there's the ones in yellow where we need to be really careful of, because they're kind of like in the midway. So, you know what? That's what this thing is going to be about. And I'm going to talk about what we're going to keep, who we're going to sell, etc. So I've got this nice little board for us over here. If you can see that. Okay, so from the goalkeepers, first and foremost, I 100% believe Alisson Becker needs to be kept. So I'm just going to put Ali there for us. 100%. There is no better goalkeeper out there in the world. I know Liverpool signed Marmashashvili, but having watched him play this season, I don't think he is our number one. I think he'll be an able substitute for Alisson Becker. But I do believe that we need to secure Alisson for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. He is a game changer, right? Game changers, we keep, we extend until we can, yeah? Next up, we've got Kevin Kelleher, and let's be real, right? When I look at Kevin Kelleher, I see somebody who is a world-class goalkeeper, but I don't see him absolutely going to do anything in terms of like upseating Alisson Becker. So for me, he's got to go in the sell column, honestly. And I do think Liverpool can at least get a bit of money for him. You know what I mean? In terms of Jaros, he's probably going to be surplus to requirement, but I would keep him. You know, as a squad player, along with Marmashashvili, you could possibly send him out to a loan if you wanted to. But I genuinely think that, you know, in terms of the goalkeepers, the two of these guys need to stay. So I'm happy with the goalkeeper positions. Now, if we're going on to the forwards, the defenders, it starts getting a little bit more tricky. 100%, if I look at our let's before I even go to that, let's just kind of put Mr. Virgil van Dijk in there, because you know what, let's just get this out of the way, because I do think I want to keep Virgil 100%. I don't know what they're going to sign him on or how long his contract's going to be, but certainly Virgil van Dijk should be in the keep column without a doubt. Okay, so then we've got Ibrahima Konate, which is this fella over here. Look, to me, the way PSG was sniffing around Virgil van Dijk during that Champions League quarterfinal or round of 16, that would really have me worried about Liverpool. He is a Parisian boy. He's a local boy for them, though he didn't play for them or came up through the academies. But I'm sure that, you know, it would be a big coup for any French team to bring him in. So it's absolutely important that Konate stays with us. That spine, Van Dijk, Konate, and Alisson Becker, those people stay. Anyways, so I'm going to go with a stay for Konate. He definitely needs to stay for us, right? If I'm looking at the rest of, not this guy, I don't want to see that guy. Okay, if I'm looking at the players that I have in front of me, I certainly feel that in the left back position, you know, Andy Robertson has really struggled this season. Well, let me put it this way. He struggled the first half of the season, right? And that's not slight on him. And I know he's come out of the press quite recently saying that, you know, he feels like he's been made a scapegoat. Brother, I don't think you're being made a scapegoat. I don't think people are just realizing that, hey, maybe your legs are not as it used to be. But far be it from me, I still have a lot of love for Andy Robertson. And I still think that in terms of experience, in terms of that mentality, that leadership, I would want to keep him. So for me, without a doubt, but we do need to get an extra player in. And for me, that player would 100% be Milos Kerkez or that kind of else. He's absolutely the perfect replacement. He's 10 years, 12 years younger than Andy Robertson. And I'm sure Andy Robertson would agree that, you know what, that would be a great person to help him fight for that left back position. I would certainly keep Andy Robertson. When I look at Joe Gomez, I kind of feel that for me, Joe should stay because he's such a great player in terms of his versatility, but he's so injury prone, right? So I don't know what we could get. Look, it's not urgent, but I depending on how a lot of things are gonna go, I would think that Liverpool should possibly sell him. But you know what? I'm still unsure about it. In terms of Conor Bradley, I would lock down Gerard Kwanzaa. I think we could loan him out, you know? I think Gerard Kwanzaa could be loaned out. And then for me, Kostas Tsimikas would be a sell. So if I put everything down, what I just said over here, 100% I'd keep Robbo. I would sell Gomez because he probably want to play more football. But you know what? Let me put him here. I'll put Gomez here, you know, between the keeper and the sell. I don't know. Depends. Okay, if I go to Conor Bradley now, 100%. We're gonna keep him. I would also, with Gerard Kwanzaa, depending on what we get in, I would certainly loan him out. I think the kid needs some minutes, some good quality minutes. There is a great player in there, so I would 100% want to keep Gerard Kwanzaa, but I would loan him out. Kostas Tsimikas, I would sell. Sorry. I just don't think that he's actually stepped up. In the time that Andy Robertson has kind of like waned, I was hoping that Kostas Tsimikas would step up more consistently. He hasn't. Okay, so I know that we've got him until a contract until 2027. I'd be happy if we sell him to make up to open up some things in that we can get in his place. That's my honest feeling. Sorry about that. Now, okay, let's quickly jump through the midfield. And in the midfield, it's I would want to keep everybody here. Let's be real. Maybe, but there are two players. I think is the standout. I think for me, it's Harvey Elliott. That's the one standout player, and I think Tyler Morton. I think for me, Tyler Morton as a squad player, I'd keep him. Because I haven't seen enough of him, right? So I definitely, but I'll put him here in terms of the tier list. He would definitely be at the bottom tier, you know, in terms of the people that I would want to keep on sell, but he would be over here. Okay, the other person, let's quickly talk about Harvey Elliott. Now, listen, Harvey Elliott has been really struggling to get 5 minutes, not through his own fault, but I just don't think that Arne Slot, for some reason, doesn't trust him. Whereas for me, Harvey has delivered every single time he's on the field. He has delivered, and I don't think Harvey is a super sub. I don't think Harvey Elliott is that kind of player. Harvey Elliott needs to play for 90 minutes so that he could find his rhythm and he can go in. But I certainly think that considering everything that's going on in the club, with the amount of midfielders that we all have, I don't think that he's gonna want to stay. He's definitely not, and I don't think we should send him out on loan. That's just disrespectful. Harvey's a much better player than that. So if Liverpool are not gonna promise him more game time, more playing time, I would say Liverpool should sell him against my better, because I'm gonna miss Harvey Elliott if we ever had to leave. So I feel really disappointed about that. Then returning to the other players, look, there isn't anything that's alarming for me just yet regarding the contract, but these are all the players that I don't want to keep for Liverpool, right? So I'm gonna pop them over here. Just gonna pop them in. Alexi McAllister, it's got time. Curtis Jones, we should probably talk about that at some point down the line, because you know what, it's coming up to a year and a half until his contract is also coming up. And Wataru Endo, I would definitely keep Wata as a squad player. Now, we're at the final stretch. I still think this is a really cool group of players. But as you can see, where my allegiances really lie. Okay, so Obviously, the big one is Mo Salah. We are going to want to keep Mo Salah 100%. 100%. We're going to keep Mo Salah. I would want to see a couple of things. But if I look at these players, right? So the ones that are coming up really with that we need to sort out pretty quickly is Diogo Diaz. Yeah, we can call him Diogo Diaz. Diogo Jota and Luis Diaz over here. Look, there's been talk about Luis Diaz possibly going to Barcelona. You know what? I'd be okay with that. We definitely need a little bit of a rebuild. And for me, he's the one I feel we probably could lose if we needed to, because we've got Cody Gakpo, right? If we didn't have someone like Cody Gakpo who's consistently proven to be, scoring goals, then for sure, why not, right? Let's keep Cody Gakpo. Darwin Núñez. Let's quickly talk about Darwin Núñez because I feel like the other two, both Jota and Chiesa, I would want to keep. I think it hasn't worked out for Darwin Núñez. For maybe not through his own fault. Maybe partly because of he's just really struggled with the culture of English football. I think that he's a great player, and I love his work rate, and I would have him in the team at any given time. Unfortunately, when we're looking at situations where things are really tight and you need your centre forward to score, ultimately, if Liverpool have paid 90 million for him, I just don't think there's been a return. So, and I don't think there's going to be a return coming in. Look, we've given 3 seasons and his return has been average. I mean, the other thing as well is the cultural thing, is that he still can't speak English or doesn't speak English. And I know any kind of work, as someone who works in a different country, in a different corporate language, when you can speak the language, it makes communication and it makes everybody feels at ease a little bit better, and it makes you also feel part of the whole. And I don't think that Darwin Núñez, not like Luis Suarez, for example. Luis Suarez was able to speak Dutch, to speak English, to speak Spanish, of course, and I'm sure Luis Suarez can speak French as well. So it's that kind of like mentality that we should have. So for me, I would honestly sell him. The same for me. Like I would want to keep Chiesa because I haven't seen enough of him. If we wanted to, if we are gonna go for, let's say, for somebody like Alexander Isak, right? And that's what we would go in. Then I would want us to sell. Either Darwin or Diogo, right? If we have Isak, I don't see us having Darwin. I can see Diogo Jota playing a little part if Isak was there. But you know what? These are all if, buts, and coconuts, so it doesn't actually fucking matter. Anyways, I'm undecided whether or not I want to sell Diogo Jota or keep him, but he's kind of like there. But anyway, so Reds, that's it. That's my take on it. Let me know what you guys think about this. Is there somebody here on the keep list that you're like, absolutely we gotta get rid of? Is there someone here on the sell that you're like, hell no, we don't wanna let them go? Look, it's a list. It's the international break. What are you gonna do? But anyways, Reds, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I'm on my way to 500 subscribers. I'm nearly there. It's such a big milestone for me, having started this as really just a kind of fun little hobby. But as I'm doing more of this content, I find myself really enjoying it more, and getting to chat to a lot of you guys in the comments is always a blast. But that's it, Reds. What do you guys think? Let me know. And I'll see you in the next vid. Take care. Boom.